This is the Brave New Coin Crypto Conversation, hosted by Andy Pickering.
Hi everyone, Andy Pickering here. I'm your host and welcome to the Crypto Conversation, a Brave New Coin podcast where we talk to the people building the future in the Bitcoin, blockchain and cryptocurrency space. My guest today is Danny Kim. Danny is the head of growth at the San Francisco Open Exchange, or SFOX, which is a crypto trading platform and prime dealer for whale traders and institutional investors. SFOX is connected to a multitude of exchanges and OTC desks to provide a single point of access to the crypto markets. Welcome to the show, Danny.
Thank you for having me, Andy. I'm excited to be on.
All right, so Danny, the San Francisco Open Exchange, or SFOX, it's kind of like an exchange, but you guys are a little bit different. You're like the next layer up above a retail exchange. Is that right?
That's right. I think the best way to put it is that, we are a prime dealer. And I think this model is part of the evolution of what we're seeing in the crypto markets today. The first piece was when it first started was creating exchanges, and everyone was satisfied with that. But then when you started seeing more and more people coming in, there were so many new exchanges popping up, and there was a reason people were realizing that each exchange didn't have enough liquidity. And this is part of that evolution where as more sophisticated traders were coming in and investors were coming in, they were looking for something that was a little bit more streamlined or less cumbersome, where they can just immediately always get the most competitive prices available in the market. And that's kind of how we kind of came about. We were actually, we started in Combinator back in 2014. And our co-founders, George Malika and Akbar, were actually looking at this market, and they saw Bitcoin as a way for international payments. Akbar came from as an early employee of Airbnb. He kind of saw how the issues of transferring money remittance, how bad and how much friction there was between each transfer. And he saw crypto or Bitcoin specifically as a solution. When they were looking into Bitcoin, he realized that it was actually difficult to source liquidity. And then he thought to himself, hey, if I want to make this into a big business and we want to make crypto and Bitcoin a mainstream product, you're going to need to first look into the infrastructure and make it very simple and reliable and secure for any investor or any trader or business to access crypto. And so that's where he came up with this idea. He looked at the traditional markets and he saw what was being done. People refer to us as interactive brokers of crypto, primarily because a party would be able to connect to us and immediately see the transparency in the market and be able to access the most competitive rates in Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency.
Okay, so in the same way a retail trader would use a Binance or a Coinbase, if you're a large whale trader or an institution, and as you say, you really need that liquidity. So talk me through how you access that liquidity from your end.
We have connectivity to a lot of the liquidity providers out there. Globally, we do a very thorough due diligence process with each partner in exchange, providing connectivity and looking into how their mechanics work in terms of the deposit and withdrawal process, as well as what the security features are, how they're storing funds, and what the total mechanics are. We first started as market makers trading, on the platforms, just to get very familiar with the platform. We provide a one-to-one solution. So when clients are looking at our order book and they are, interacting and executing trades, they're actually buying against our own inventory. However, we're just meeting and honoring the prices that are being, shown on the order book.
And so in the legacy markets, it's the Goldman Sachs and the JP Morgans of this world who are at the top of the hill, and they are the top prime dealers, right? So would you characterize yourself as a sort of crypto equivalent, or is there a difference?
We're a crypto equivalent, right? We are looking to become the Goldman Sachs or the JP Morgans of the prime dealer space. At the end of the day, what JP Morgan does very well for their institutional and high net worth clients is provide them a very ease of access to liquidity. For us, it's really about the cryptocurrency. We want to make sure that we can provide the most secure and reliable way for any investor that's involved in crypto to get access to that liquidity. And by doing so, I say that, we're very on par, hoping to achieve one day to become like a Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan for crypto.
Do you guys have a target customer profile? What is the process like? Like, would they be referred to you? How do you connect with a client? Do you go out looking for them?
Our product has always been focused on the professional traders, investors, and businesses and family funds out there. Kind of the great thing about our product is that it really caters to a whole spectrum of clients. And as we started focusing our product towards those that client segment, we've actually organically seen a growth in your general traders of your John and Janes who are interested in crypto. They started coming organically because they saw how easy it was to buy and make sure that they're getting the best price. And then we saw a lot of active traders or day traders using our platform. Primarily because for active and day traders, they're looking to make sure that they're becoming most capital efficient, right? When they are trying to do an arbitrage or spread trade, what happens with them is that they need to keep capital across all these different exchanges and maintain connectivity. But that's a very cumbersome and difficult process because if you're trying to catch arbitrage between 5 different exchanges and you have $100,000, you're spreading that capital in five different ways, which makes your opportunity very little. And so when they're using our platform, they're able to capture and see that single arbitrage from one platform and able to capture that from one. So we have that, and then we have a lot of the high net worth family offices and businesses using our platform because it's kind of like a turnkey solution for them. They come into our platform, they immediately have connectivity and access to a order book that shows and reflects all the real-time prices across every major USD exchange and liquidity provider out there. And so for them, it's they don't need to worry about where they're going to trade or where they're going to onboard and how to manage all of that. They just come to us, they see the platform, they deposit funds, and then they're able to immediately buy and sell. And so it makes their life a lot easier. And so by us managing that process internally and doing that for them, it actually allows them to scale on more revenue driver areas, right? So that they can focus on how they're going to build their business and earn more revenue rather than having to focus on the connectivity side of the operational piece of their business.
Is the difference between what you guys do and, say, a more traditional OTC desk is that you offer a wider range of trading opportunities, whether it's an arbitrage or something like that, whereas an OTC desk is more a simple buy and sell. Is that right?
We are, I would say very complementary to a OTC trading or OTC trading platform. And the reason why I say we're complementary is because there are times where people need to do an OTC trade, and the reason is primarily because they need to get they have a large position that they need to get in and out of it fairly quickly, and they don't want to impact that market, right? So what happens in that case is they will go to a OTC broker. The OTC broker will then give them a quote based off of the size that they say, along with what liquidity they have on the back end. So they'll probably look into the exchange that they're connected to and seeing, all right, what's that liquidity is, what that slippage would be if they work that order, and then provide them a padded price with some premium so that the OTC provider can earn on. For us, it's more of we see value where if a user or investor needs to trade a large OTC size trade, they can work their order themselves and not have to pay that premium. They can, because they have the connectivity, we're providing them the same tools that OTC providers use. It's just that we just remove that spread because we're allowing them to work the order themselves. So, they would put in, say, a $250,000 order or $1 million order on our platform. We have advanced algorithms that are commonly used by OTC traders, where it wouldn't impact the market. It wouldn't impact the market or minimize that impact by having some types of hidden orders or algorithmic orders that gradually work over time. That allows a trader to then execute these large trades without having to worry about any price impact.
Talk me through some of the algorithms there. They've got, the usual fun algorithmic names. You've got the gorilla, the tortoise, the hare, the sniper, and obviously these are designed for different trading situations. Yeah, so talk me through a couple of those algorithms and how they work.
Sure, yeah, just keep me to the SFOX name. We love our animals, and that's why we decided to name each algorithm after an animal.
Nice.
So each algorithm is really catered to different strategies and different needs, along with considering the size of the order. One of our most favorite ones is the hare, and what we've seen is that when you place an order, every time you look at the order book, you place an order like a maker order that appears on the order book, another order appears on top of yours, right? And then every time you try to adjust that order, someone else hops and beats your order, and it's constantly a race, right? And so, and because of that, it makes it harder and harder for your order to get filled because your order starts moving further back into the order book. Well, so what the hair does is, which is very interesting, it'll take your order, you place the limit and the price of the quantity, and then that order will then be placed on a order book. And as if someone hops your order, we then hop that order again. So we're competing and making sure that the order stays as closest to the top of the order book. And that provides that helps automate that whole process of you not having to cancel your order, place a new one, and cancel and so forth. Instead, our system, what we do internally is we constantly hop those orders that are beating our prices to make it most competitive. The second one that we have is that's mostly popular is the smart routing order. The smart routing order, it is what it's titled as, where it'll take your price, take your quantity, and it will sweep across every single liquidity provider out there that's honoring, so that it is going to deliver you the best price available currently, right? So it's kind of like a market sweep at a market order, but not just on a single platform, but across multiple different platforms. And so these are the type of the algorithms that we provide our customers, so that they get a nice or a great edge in the market when they're trading, compared to saying just an edge over just buying and selling directly.
Danny, on the OTC, can you give us an idea, compare and contrast the amount of crypto trading that you think would happen via OTC desks against what the volume we can see on exchanges? Where's the difference?
Yeah, I think a lot of people have always speculated, and I think the thing is, it's with OTC, you never really know, right? Because part of OTC being over the counter is to be opaque, so that you don't really, so that it doesn't move markets, right? Now, we've always seen in history or in commentaries where people have said that 70% of the volume is being traded in OTC versus public markets. That actually wouldn't surprise me, right? Because you kind of see that a large amount of volume being traded, even in the more legacy or traditional markets. There's a lot of OTC trading being done more on the public side, and that's usually coming from the larger whales, right? And so, if someone were to say, and if I would say that, if there's a majority of the trading volume being done on OTC, I wouldn't be surprised. But I wouldn't say I wouldn't know exact figure, because again, it's OTC is over the market and it's hidden. So
all right, Danny, let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, I want to talk Y Combinator, Coinbase, and your time at Gemini.
Whether you're an enterprise fund manager or a retail trader, buying and selling cryptocurrencies successfully requires price discovery you can rely on. Brave New Coin's liquid indices provide trusted US dollar prices for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Ripple. Featuring end-of-day or intraday outputs, you can count on the VLX, ELX, and XRPLX for accurate US dollar pricing for smart contract oracles, settlement price discovery, net asset valuation, and performance analysis. Visit bravenewcoin.com to find out more.
Now, Danny, last month, Y Combinator published an updated list of the top 101 companies that have gone through the Y Combinator Accelerator program, and they ranked this list by valuation. So it's a really interesting list. It gives a good insight into which of the Y Combinators, the program's 2,000 plus investments, which ones have gone on to become quite highly valued companies. And I think Y Combinator, they say that of all of the companies that made this year's list, each of those 101 companies is valued at 150 million or more, with a total valuation of around 155 billion. Okay, so of this 101 on the list, only two are crypto related. The first one is, of course, Coinbase, which comes in at number 5, and then SFOX, which really just squeaked into the list at 99, but hey, you still made the top 100. That must be quite pleasing.
Oh my God, it was actually we were very proud, and it kind of just showed how much how much of our product has done. I mean, yeah, we did squeak in, but we were one of the only 2 crypto companies on this list, and I think that spoke volumes about how we compare not only in our industry, but just in total of all the startups that have come about Y Combinator. I mean, we've seen fantastic companies being incubated from Y Combinator, and for us to be part of that list was very, very humbling, and very, it was an honor for us to be on that. And I think that kind of just speaks volumes of what we're trying to achieve here, is that we're not a company that's just trying to be here for a couple of years. We're a company that's going to be here for a very long time and be at the top, and working to be at the top of that list.
Nice, Danny. And speaking of Coinbase, Coinbase is obviously a unicorn in crypto terms, and a real success story. But in many ways, Brian Armstrong, the founder of Coinbase and the co-founder at SFOX, Akbar, him and Brian, they have a bit of history and knew each other back in the day. In some ways, they were working in parallel, right?
That's right. They actually started together, and they parted around the same time. Brian was looking into, from what I've been told, was that Brian was moving on to Coinbase, and Akbar, and he saw that big opportunity as a consumer side, and for Akbar, he saw it as an opportunity on the institutional side of things, the institutional and business side of things. And so, it's kind of great, right? You see Y Combinator showing two crypto companies, and the two ones are one that we started off focusing on consumers, and then SFOX, the company that was focusing on businesses and institutions and being on top of there. And it kind of shows, like, I believe that they're still close, and a lot of ideas are shared. But it's kind of great to see that all that came from those two guys, and we are here where we are today.
And your title at SFOX, Danny, you are the head of growth. So what does that mean? Are you the guy that has to go out and pitch to new clients and keep growing the business? What's your role?
Yeah, so as the head of growth, I'm involved in various different aspects of the business. Fortunately, I was able to join SFOX as probably the fourth or fifth employee about close to almost 2 years ago. And part of my duties is really to help the business grow in terms of new clienteles or seeing new opportunities and finding new partners. I'm out constantly speaking to new clients, new partners, hearing what they need in this market, and then bringing it back into our core team on saying, like, this is how the market's developing, this is what's needed, and then really working close to new market participants who are trying to get involved and build a business, and working with them closely on saying, this is how SFOX can help. This is what we can do. This is what you may need, and really just being involved in this, in the whole business.
And so before SFOX, you spent time with Gemini, but before that, you actually come from a traditional banking background. So talk to me about that, Danny. What was it about crypto that pulled you in? How did you make the switch? So
I was in banking since 2007. I started there, and I was there for about close to 9 years. When I first came out of college or during college, finance was the place to be. That's where you made the most money. And so I went in there, and, over time we saw I was there during the recession, and I kind of saw how the finance world was working, but it wasn't very appealing to me. I was looking at something and like talking to a lot of folks. And when I was starting my while I was working in finance, I was working on a side business, e-commerce site, and from there, as I was talking to more people, and I realized that the world was a lot smaller than we realized, and it needs to open up. And one thing in part when I came across crypto was that Bitcoin is something that can help with that, and we kind of saw this over the period of time. But the great thing was that with crypto, anyone was able to participate. It wasn't just controlled by, it wasn't really centered or controlled in one major group. It was global, and that's kind of that was a part of the reason what attracted me to crypto. It was that, it was a global asset or a new technology that was going to be as big, if not bigger, than the internet, and that the participation wasn't just very centralized. It was completely decentralized and global, and had a huge reach to how it can change people's lives. And going from that seemed like that was going to be the new finance. And so, moving out from the old, going to the new, that's what really drew me into it. Very nicely put, Danny. And so you spent time as the Director of Institutional Sales at Gemini. And look, I did have a little look at your LinkedIn, and I love the way you described this. You said your team provides institutional and active Bitcoin trading clients with professional white glove service.
Yeah, so speaking of institutions and, you deal with institutions now at SFOX, and you were the Director of Institutional Sales at Gemini. Give us your perspective on where you think things are at in terms of, there's always been this narrative of the institutions are coming, and, that narrative just keeps on humming away in the background. And, I think the institutions have arrived, but I guess they've sort of arrived in fits and starts. We've seen Backed go live, earlier this month with, slightly probably underwhelming volume, but that has just started to ramp up in the last couple of weeks. Talk to me. Where are we at?
Yeah, sure. So, I think, the term institution is used very freely in this market, right? And everyone says institution. But I think right now, we're still in the early phases. And, I think when people refer to institutions, I believe they mean either businesses or a lot of new money coming in. And then also, if you graduate from that, it's either banks or pension funds or even more, right? And so I'll say this. I think that, if we dissect institutions and bring it into tiers, I would say that, there are a lot of businesses exploring and have been exploring crypto today. And I think where this is evolving to, it's that, these businesses and these, funds and offices have come into crypto because they were a little bit more flexible, I think. And that's when, crypto first started, the infrastructure really wasn't there, but they were able to, take the risk and, dabble because they were nimble enough. Now, as the market is maturing, the bigger companies who do have more requirements for not only themselves but for the investors, there's certain things that need to be met, right? In terms of for infrastructure, of accounting or reporting, or even regulatory clarity before they even dabble into it. And I think that's the one piece where we're getting to. We recently, from 2017 to 18, even 19, we've started seeing more high frequency or more sophisticated trading shops come in, primarily because you started seeing an adoption and development in exchanges where they started developing the proper APIs that can support these high frequency trading shops. And that was a metamorphosis of a new transition of exchanges being developed, where they started focusing on making sure that their infrastructure internally can support this high frequency of trading. And then now you have some more sophisticated institutions or businesses coming in looking for different types of trading products outside of spot trading. Right? We've started, like you just mentioned, like with Backed, there's been other future exchanges out there like CX and so forth, where they've been looking to provide other products outside of just spot trading, because a lot of these institutions need, when they're holding position, they need to be able to properly hedge themselves. And if you look at the equity markets or traditional markets, there are so many different types of trading products out there, right? You have repos, you have swaps, interest rate derivatives, options, and so forth. The reason why is because that all these different products allows them to hedge some of their other positions and protect themselves just from a spot market. And that's kind of what we're seeing today, I believe, is that, every exchange, every new product that's going to come out, it's a gradual growth, and we are slowly adding in more building blocks to meet what these ultimate institutions are going to require, right? Which is, when I say ultimate institutions, that is the JP Morgans or the pension funds that everyone is looking for, or those super large custodial clients as well. And once they have those proper trading products, as well as the regulatory clarity on what can be traded or how can it be traded, I think that's when we'll see them coming in even further. But I think we've been making a fantastic job in the progress and moving the progress in what we've been doing today.
Crypto goes through these phases that they have a large impact on both the market and the businesses and the institutions, the infrastructure, everyone that's involved, right? Like we had the 2017 bull market, the 2018 bear market, and now we're sort of, it feels like we're approaching some kind of inflection point. It's always an interesting time in crypto, but there's something happening at the moment, because on the one hand, you've got Bitcoin doing what Bitcoin does. The hash rate is high. The price is holding well. We're coming up slowly but surely towards the 2020 halving. Then, you've got Facebook trying to launch Libra. It's not looking too likely at the moment. And, Mark Zuckerberg, just last week, he said to Congress, look, if you don't let us do this, China will do it and China will win, and that will hurt the US. And literally the next day, China came out and said, we're going to do this, and they're going heavy into blockchain. So, yeah, it's an interesting time, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think China and President Xi was definitely watching that hearing, right? Because, like you said, a week after, or even less, they came right out and said what they said of seizing blockchain, and that was such an interesting thing. But it is a very interesting time, I think. As you mentioned, we actually at SFOX we write a lot of educational pieces, and specifically on a monthly basis we write a monthly volatility report, which tries to capture the market sentiment, or we help try to measure what that market sentiment is. And through these reports on these monthly basis, we've actually been seeing a lot of increase in volatility. And when there's an increase in volatility, that usually means that there's a lot of uncertainty coming along, and it's because if you look back from the beginning of 2019, you saw this huge price run up from from March, where we were hovering around 3 or 4K, and then immediately shot up to July around, I think it was like 13,000, and people were fantastic, but no one really knew what was going on, and then all of a sudden, from that peak, you started seeing a gradual a decline. So much unknowns going on. People are very price sensitive, and any type of news is really going to have a potential impact. We've been looking at a whole variety of micro and macro events, as well as on-chain data and so forth. And I think when Mark Zuckerberg and the Libra coalition have so much trouble with Congress, and then see that comment come from President Xi, that provided so much confidence in the market that you just saw this huge surge. And so I think right now we'll be in a pretty volatile area until there's more clarity on where the market's going, because everyone's watching right now, since there's been so much price movement. There's going to be a lot of eyes and seeing where can we go with this market. But it seems like for now, based off of all the development, it's looking like a great 2020. We're just aiming to the moon right now, so it's great.
To the moon it is. Danny, let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back and we'll finish off with the crypto conversation hot take round.
Crypto, the asset class that doesn't sleep. The markets move quickly, with profits made and lost around the clock. It's a whirlwind, and you've got to keep up. You need enhanced tools that deliver timely data and accurate analytics, so you can make informed decisions. You need BNC Pro, a customizable, institutional-grade suite of applications to help you manage your crypto investments all in one place. Get accurate market data, track your trades or custom holdings, and see profit and loss at a glance. Monitor any asset, trading pair, or exchange using Brave New Coin's trusted market data. Integrate BNC Newsfeed and filter it to deliver only the news that matters to you. Never miss an opportunity, save time, and make better informed decisions. Finally, the all-in-one terminal experience you need to master this brave new asset class. BNC Pro, launching Q4 2019. Join the waitlist today at bravenewcoin.com.
All right, Danny, I'd like to finish each Crypto Conversation podcast with a rapid-fire round of Crypto Conversation hot take questions. Are you up for it?
Sure, of course.
Danny from SFOX, here we go. I want your hot takes, your hot fire. Take your best shot. Here we go. Where do you sit on the Bitcoin maximalist to multi-coin opportunist spectrum?
I am a big Bitcoin maximalist. I love Bitcoin. Bitcoin was the one that brought me in, and I will always be a Bitcoiner at heart.
Danny, Facebook's Libra coin, good or bad for the crypto ecosystem, and why?
I think every news is great news, and given that Libra has brought in so much attention, it's positive. There's more awareness. I think that as long as crypto continues to have awareness and there's more eyes coming in and trying to understand what crypto or blockchain can be, I think Libra is doing a fantastic job in helping that.
Danny, I ask every guest this question. You're an American. Who do you think wins the American presidential election 2020?
You know, I think Andrew Yang.
Hashtag Yang Gang. And look, actually, speaking of Andrew Yang, UBI as a fix for AI-induced automation. Yang is a big proponent of this. Is that a good idea?
You know, with UBI, I think it is very interesting. You know, I think there's still a lot of research to be done, but if it's executed appropriately and correctly, I think it can be a positive impact into the world, into the US at the very least. Nice.
Danny, Bill Gates famously said, we tend to overestimate what we can accomplish in 2 years and underestimate what we can accomplish in 10. What does the blockchain space look like in 10 years?
I think the blockchain in 10 years, I think our kids are going to be having a lot of their games, their videos on the blockchain. They are going to be interacting it as though they are interacting it with the internet today.
Nice, couldn't agree more. And similarly, Danny, William Gibson said the future is here, it's just not evenly distributed. What's an example of the future being here right now, but most people just aren't really aware of it?
I think it's blockchain. It's blockchain and Bitcoin. I mean, look, we are ahead. Like it's been all over the place, but you'll be surprised at how, like, even though you imagine that, you know, as much media attention that blockchain and Bitcoin has gotten, there's still a lot of people that aren't aware of it, and that impact and what it can become. I think, you know, this is the future, but there still needs to be a lot more awareness and education in it.
All right, Danny, let's zoom out. What's the long-term future for the human race? Do you see dystopia or utopia?
I see utopia, but, you know, I think utopia, maybe not on this planet though, maybe somewhere else. That's what I see right now.
Hey Danny, finally, what is your favorite science fiction book, film, or show?
You know, more recently, or less recently, Interstellar.
Nice, great film, inspirational. Danny, it's been a lot of fun talking to you today. The microphone is yours. Take us out. Tell the listeners what you got going on, where they can find you on your various platforms, SFOX, etc. Go for gold.
Awesome. Thank you, Andy. Yeah, look, guys, you guys can listen to me and follow me on Twitter at Mr. Kim Crypto. Go to SFOX. If you sign up to SFOX and you want to speak with me, you can just create a immediate Calendly invite, and I'm happy to speak with anybody. Open an account, and, you know, if you need to figure out where to buy and sell, SFOX is there to help you out.
Nice one. Thank you, Danny.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you to Danny. Thank you to SFOX. Put some links in the show notes to some of the things we talked about today. Also going to include a link to a recent SFOX report that came out just after Danny and I talked. But the headline takeaway of the report is that the SFOX Multi-Factor Market Index has moved from neutral to mildly bullish as of the 11th of November 2019. So that was about a week or so ago, but mildly bullish. Who knows what will happen between now and the rest of the year, but hey, we'll be watching the markets. If you did enjoy the show, please do make sure you subscribe to the Crypto Conversation podcast in whatever podcast app you are using. That way you'll know when each new weekly episode drops. But for now, we are out of here. This was the Crypto Conversation for Brave New Coin